What took you from Utah up to Idaho?
Oh my word. I spent 38 or 36 and a half years with the U.S. Forest Service.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
that's what I did for a career. I moved all over. I've lived in so many places. It's not even funny.
That's awesome. That's good though. You get to experience a lot of different things and get to enjoy all of the country with that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We worked in Texas and Arkansas and Washington State and
Man.
Utah, up to 2 or 3 places in Utah. I went to Utah State and got my master's degree in wildlife management.
Okay.
And that's what we moved from Texas to Utah, and then I got on with the Forest Service, and then went all over, Loa, and worked out of Richfield a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
just yeah, I know that country pretty well.
I love it here, honestly. So I'm originally from southern Utah, down by St. George, but I kind of had to get away from what St. George is becoming and get to a smaller town. And I love it up here. The hunting up here is great. The fishing up here is great. Like it's awesome up here.
Oh, I know. I loved Utah too. It was we lived in Mazer, out by Vernal.
Mm-hmm.
Lived there for a while. I was the forest biologist on the Ashley National Forest.
Oh, nice,
So
nice.
yeah, so I got to play in the UNAs and get paid for it. And it was pretty cool.
I always say, I went to school to become a nurse, and I mean, I love being a nurse. It's great, but I always say, man, I should have went and became a wildlife biologist or some kind of outdoor biologist. That way, I could get paid to be in the mountains rather than I have to work to go to the mountains.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, as long as you get in the mountains, man.
I do get in the mountains probably more than my wife wants me to, but
So what got you into doing a podcast? That's cool.
yeah, I honestly, I just it was kind of selfish, to be honest with you. I love talking about hunting and outdoors, and I've always just been a lifelong learner. And so I really started the podcast just for my own self, just to learn from other people and talk to really cool people and just have fun with it. And it's kind of grown into something pretty special and bigger than I thought it was going to grow into. And I still enjoy just having conversations with new people like you. You and I have never met each other, but yet we get to sit here and talk about hunting and just cool stuff. And I'm yet to meet anybody that I don't like. I've never had anybody on the podcast that I don't like, and so it's just
Right.
fun. I love it.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. Well, so I want to talk about this First Hunt Foundation. I mean, that's the majority of the podcast today. So you were a Forest Service biologist and all that. Why did you go from doing that to starting a nonprofit?
Oh wow. Well, when I retired with the Forest Service, I was a forest supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
which is I managed 4 million acres, and I had like 600 employees and $45 million budget. So I had a lot of management skills, I guess is what I'm saying. And I was like everybody, I'm like, what am I going to do when I retire? And I've always taken kids out hunting. I have 4 sons, they're hunters. And I've always just enjoyed taking kids out. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, well, maybe I could, do something to help kids. That's kind of was the first thought.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that's going to retire struggles with what am I going to do? And I thought, well, that sounds like something fun. And I remember back the origin story of the foundation actually started when I was in Washington State,
Mm-hmm.
and I owned 20 acres, and it was just a little bit of forest and grass. And then down below me, right on the foothills in the valley, was just alfalfa fields everywhere. And every day, this just massive fluctuation of deer would come down and just go right by me into the fields. And I was just sitting there going, man, if I could get them to stop on my little 20 acres, maybe we could harvest some and I could get some other people to harvest some.
Yeah.
And in Washington, some people are pro or con, they allowed baiting, putting feeders out. So I thought, well, I'll put a feeder out and see if maybe they'll stop here before they go to the alfalfa. And I did. And oh my word, they'd be 25 to 40 deer that would stop for 30 minutes and then go to the alfalfa field. So I started letting kids come. I set up a 2-seater tree stand. I'd let kids come. And in 1 year, I had 7 kids shoot their first deer on
Wow.
my property. And for us, as hunters, it's like there's 20 deer 50 yards away standing. It's like it's a meat hunt.
Yeah.
But for them, it was like
It's
breathing, buck fever, shaking, but anyway, 7 kids shot their first deer. And I would see those kids as they grew up years later on the street or somewhere, and they would come up to me and say, Mr. Brazel, I will never forget the time you let me shoot my first deer. That meant so much to me. Thank you so much for letting me do that. And so the concept of that first hunt experience when I was getting ready to retire, like, well, what if I could create that hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, that first experience, not necessarily your first hunt, but your first hunting experience. And so that was the foundation of the first hunt idea. And so I started it. I had no intent on it growing. It was something for me to do when I was retired. I loved doing it. I thought, well, I'll do it here in Idaho. Well, I moved around. And so people would hear about it, my friends, and go, hey, can I do it over here back in Washington? Can I do it in Texas? Can I do? Sure. We're a national nonprofit. I mean, we're sanctified federally. So
yeah,
all of a sudden I woke up one day and I'm like, God, we're in 7 states. And then it kind of hit me like, maybe if I'm really wanting to impact people, don't think about it so small, think about it bigger. And so I thought, well, let's go national. I mean, push it national. And I started advertising, and before you know it, we were in 16 states, 18 states, 20 states, finding leaders, finding chapters, finding people with that passion that had the same passion I do to help people learn about hunting.
Yeah.
And before you know it, now we're in all 50 states, have mentors in all 50 states, and we have chapters in a lot of states. We have state directors. And what's cool about it is nobody, including me, gets a paycheck.
Awesome.
We're all doing it for the passion. All the money we raise goes into insurance, giving out $10,000 worth of first time
apparel
to kids.
Yeah.
Our publications, 10 or 15,000. So we've got bills, but we don't have any overhead as far as salaries, which is kind of
cool. Wow. So you retired and thought you were just going to kind of go easy into life and just have fun with a nonprofit, and found out it was a whole lot busier.
My wife will attest that I'm probably working at least 40 to 50 hours a week for 9 years, and I don't care. It's what keeps me young and active and out in the woods and having fun. And
that's the thing is when we retire, like you don't want to just sit and do nothing, like that's not the point of life, is to sit and do nothing. And I always say, like, when I retire, I'm going to be hunting all the time. And obviously you can't do that all the time. So I'm probably going to find something. It's probably going to be this podcast or something along these lines where I can help other people, or just help myself. Like I said, selfishly, I do this really for myself because I like talking to cool people and talking about cool stuff. Yeah. And so if that's all I can do, hey, that's fine. But so a couple of buddies of mine, we actually tried to start a nonprofit one time. It was the Winter Range Foundation. And I think they're still kind of doing it a little bit, but it's a lot of work to start a nonprofit. Like you feel like, people make it sound like it's a little bit easier, but it takes a lot of hours and a lot of dedication.
Well, it's a smaller level. You could do it. But I'm literally every day I'm talking to 1 or 2 people from different states.
Wow.
Either by text or by phone or by email, and asking questions. And so it just fills in the day, which is fine.
Yeah.
I figured when I first did it, I figured I was actually hunting at least 80 days a year.
Wow.
Now, that was probably 20 something days of me, and then 50 to 60 of taking I was hunting with somebody else teaching them, but I was hunting.
Exactly.
And I was in the woods, and I'm like, this is like I died and went to heaven. I'm like, I'm in the woods hunting all.
Well, like you said, anything that we can do to get in the mountains, get in the woods, that's the most important thing. I don't care what it is. I don't care what takes me out there, as long as I can get out there. And I've got little, I've got kids, I got young kids, and my oldest boy he just turned 14. So he's getting into the hunting and whatnot. And it is such a blast taking him out hunting, getting his first deer, got his first deer under his belt, and just being in the mountains, just packing a gun around, talking about, strategies on how to hunt, and just teaching them things that almost feel like it'd been innate in me, but I obviously learned them from my dad or from my grandpa or whoever, and teaching him those same things, it brings a level of reward that honestly, I don't think you can get anywhere else. So I'm assuming with the First Hunt Foundation, you guys, I mean, you're probably feeling that all the time.
Well, and our mentors do. I hear the stories I hear from our mentors. Some of the people say, this changed my life.
Yeah.
They're saying, I wanted to do something and I had no outlet to do it. I mean, and now you've given me this organization that has my back. We got liability insurance. We got a ton of perks that I've found over the years. As an example, we're a Vortex dealer, but we never sell to the public.
Right.
We only allow our mentors and the new hunters to get stuff at cost. Now think about that. I mean, it's like, don't go to Walmart and buy your first set of binoculars, young hunter. Let us get you for $100, $200 a lower end pair of Vortex, which has a lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
And you're just going to be way better off. And that's a service we offer to everybody.
That's something that scares a lot of people off. I was talking, we'll get into Taylor with 360 Sportsman here in a bit, because I want to chat with you about your relationship with them. But we were talking about that like, that's something that scares a lot of people away. They get into hunting and then they look like, how much do these binoculars cost? And okay, you can buy a gun for a couple $100, but then this scope is $1,000 that you're going to put on it, and so like, man, if I start having to put out all this money, it's kind of like golf. Like if people try to get into golf and you start spending all this money on golf clubs, it kind of scares you away from doing it. So if you can give an avenue to people that they can get into hunting without breaking the bank, for lack of better words, I think it's a good avenue. It doesn't scare them away.
Yeah, are you familiar with the R3 movement?
I'm not.
Well, R3 it's a national movement that the state's been around for probably at least 10 years. It stands for recruiting new hunters, retaining the hunters that are currently hunting, and reactivating those who have left hunting. And the states have coordinators because they've all realized that us old guys are going to tap out just for health reasons someday. And you look at the new people coming in, the bell curve is way low. 10 years from now, if we don't recruit more people, then hunting in some states will, be taken over by some other department, and they won't have enough funds from license sales. And so one of the things that from the R3 action plan was the deterrent for getting into hunting was the cost of equipment, the cost of all that stuff. And so we realize that, and so we've got deals with like Bear Archery. We get 41% off for the person wanting their first bow.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy. Whew. And so let's get you out hunting with a bow, and here, let us help you save the money by getting you this phenomenal detail. We don't even mark it up. We could be making money.
Oh yeah.
But we don't, because I keep thinking, we're a nonprofit. Why would we?
It's not about making a profit. It's about what your whole mission statement is, right? It's just about getting people into the outdoors that have never done it before.
Yeah. So we have deals with tons and tons of companies. All of our mentors sign up for or get expert voice for free. And you probably know about that.
Yep.
There's hundreds of companies they get discounts on.
Wow.
Anyway, we just try to, it's like, thank you for helping us. Let us help you. And we're all going to be better off to help the new hunter.
So it's the First Hunt Foundation. So it's about really getting people out there for that first hunt. I understand the meaning behind that. But you mentioned with that R3 program, getting people, to come back, or I can't remember what the word, you reinvest or whatever that was with that. But do you see a lot of people coming back to hunting through the First Hunt Foundation as well?
Yes. Yeah. I feel good that we're hitting all three of them.
Nice.
We're recruiting new hunters with the kids and all that, and we've taken some 70-something-year-old people out on their very first hunts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then re-engaging people. We find that people say, "Well, my kids are all left, and I really don't hunt much anymore." I say, "Well, we'll find your kid." Or somebody.
Yeah.
And so we help them do that. And then we get them fired up. Those that have left, like, come on back, look at all the fun we're having, especially when we have camps. We have camps where we bring in, 10 or 15. One time we had 30 new turkey hunters in a camp, all 30 new hunters. And we had 80 people in camp. And we fed them, and it didn't cost them a penny, because we don't charge. I made a commitment. I will never charge for our services ever, because It's like, hey, we'll take you hunting, but you're going to have to pay us. Well, then we're guides in a
Right.
sense. We don't do that. So we had 80 people. We fed them for 3 days and had food donated. The Kalispell tribe gave us salmon and buffalo burger. And anyway, it just was phenomenal.
So what does it look like?
These events.
So what does it look like if somebody wants to sign up, you know, and like say that someone's listening to this podcast, they've never hunted in their entire life. And here we are talking about this First Hunt Foundation, a way that they can get into hunting. What does it look like for them? Like how do, like if they go to the website, sign up, can you kind of walk us through what those steps look like?
Yeah, you betcha. We've gotten a little more sophisticated over the years. They can go and sign up as a mentee. And it tells us what their interests are. It tells us their age and their demographic, and because we track all that stuff. We track the age of people we take out, the gender, the ethnicity. We're trying to kind of keep track of everything. So they enter that stuff, and when they do that, then they have access to what we call the mentor map, and it's a United States map that has all of our mentors with a little flag. You can hover over that flag and it will pull up their name and their contact information. So a mentee can literally reach out first to see if there's anybody in their area, which in time we'll have people, you know, close enough to everybody. But right now, there's some states have, like Washington has 300 plus mentors. Hawaii probably has 10.
Wow. That's still
Alaska
a lot.
has 4 or 5, so that's a pretty big state.
Yeah.
So we're still working on Alaska, but a mentee could see if there's anybody close and just reach out to them to go, hey, are you available to help me? I'm a new hunter. I'm trying to get out, and the mentor, of course, is a volunteer, and if they're not swamped with people, they probably would say, yeah, I'll help you out.
Wow, that is so cool. You know what I love about that is that's very personal. You know, I think a lot of kind of another thing that deters people from this is, okay, the equipment is one thing, but then like, how do I even like talk to people? And it can be a little bit overwhelming when you're reaching out to big people, or you go to like a hunt expo or one of those and you're like, holy crap, there's a lot of people here and I have no idea where to even begin. So to have it be more personal like that, hey, you can reach out to an individual and say, hey, I want to get into hunting, and then have that person be a subject matter expert in that area, in that specific state, to be able to just say, okay, here's what we're going to do. I think that's a pretty sweet deal and a pretty easy way for people to get into hunting.
We try to make it as easy as we can.
Yeah.
You know, we've had some struggles where they've called 2 or 3 people and they weren't able to take them out, and I feel bad for that, but they're volunteers. And
right.
Like they may have, well, I'm going to take out 1 person this year. I'm taking out 5, and I've already got my 5. I can't take any more on. That happens. Do the more mentors we get, hopefully they can find somebody.
Yeah. Do the mentees have a specific like game animal that they want to pursue when they reach out, or is it just pretty much open that they just want to whatever the mentor can do?
It's usually they do. A lot of them are wanted. It's funny. A whole lot of them. I'm gonna shoot an elk. Like,
hold your horses.
It's harder to find mentors for elk hunting. A lot of times elk is a more than 1 day thing. A lot of ours are day hunts. If you think about it. Oh
yeah, I guess that's true.
We have some pretty strict rules for our insurance. As an example, with the youth, we can never go out with the youth unless a parent is there overnight. And we have try to have the 2 deep leadership too with youth. And so if somebody says, I want to shoot an elk, I'll go, well, okay, wait a minute. That's going to be, if there's fewer elk than there are. How about we start off with turkey?
Yeah.
Start off with deer, because there's a lot of white-tailed deer here. I mean, maybe we can eventually move up to elk. So we have to coach them sometimes, because sometimes they're set on it, and other times like, well, I've heard my friend talk about elk, so I want to hunt elk.
Well, they probably watch those podcasts with Joe Rogan or whoever, and they're just going out and shooting these big, 400-inch elk, and like, hey, I want to do that. Let's just sign this up. I'm going to go to First Hunt Foundation. They're going to get me a 400-inch elk.
Well, and down south they can go shoot hogs. There's no season. What's cool?
Oh yeah,
no season. You can shoot them all year long, and it's not like you have to wait for that 2-month period or 1 month period or whatever for big game in some states. That's
a good. Honestly didn't even think about that, because as I was thinking about this, I was thinking the mentees would have to wait until like fall to do an elk hunt or a deer hunt, and so which can also kind of be a little bit frustrating that you're so excited about it in February, and then you have all these months until it actually finally happens. So that excitement may wear off. Whereas, Yeah, if you can go hunt hogs, I guess even rabbits and probably a lot of birds too, that you can
Oh
just
yeah,
get out and do it.
predator hunting. But the other thing, our mentors, we try to instill in them is, find out what this person's skill level is.
Hmm.
You meet them in February and you start talking to them. Okay, have you had hunter ed? Well, you got to take that.
Yeah.
You teach them through the process. Okay, you don't have a gun. Okay, I tell you what, let's go out this spring and we're going to take my gun out. Most mentors use their own guns, and we're going to get you used to shooting,
Hmm.
because hunter's ed, most states, some of them don't even shoot anymore.
Right. It's
And some of
virtual.
them, it's just a few shots, and for
Yeah.
what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have the time to really do it, but a mentor can sit there and spend hours with them,
Right.
teach them how to get the sight picture, all that stuff. So you're keeping them excited. Okay, now you know how to shoot. So now we're getting closer to actually graduating to go out and chase an animal and look for an animal. So
That's so
yeah,
cool.
you don't just wait till the day of the hunt. I mean, that would be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you never shot? Let's go hunting.
Yeah, let's go on. Yeah. Well, that's kind of
We'll get
cool.
something.
It's a process then. It's teaching them from, taking them from the beginning to the end, which is, I hadn't even thought about that either. That's really cool that it kind of creates that relationship, which kind of makes sense to having more mentors in more states. That way, I mean, even a state of like Utah, if you have a person that reaches out in Salt Lake City, but yet the mentor is down in St. George, it's going to be very difficult to connect those two, at least very often. I mean, you can make it happen, but to have more mentors here that could do it, that makes sense. Hey, you said predator hunting. Do you do a lot of mentorship with predator hunting?
We did some of our mentors do. It's up to the mentor, and some mentors might be exclusively predator hunting. We may have mentors that are, I'm just a black powder guy. We don't care.
Okay.
If that's all you can contribute to teaching somebody is that one skill or archery,
Uh-huh.
great. That's great. I mean, I
That's
do everything.
well.
I do everything.
That's one of the questions I had written down for you. Because I wanted to ask that, like, for your mentors, like, what are their requirements or yeah, I guess their requirements that they have to be able to have. So if you take someone that is never archery hunted in their life, but they're really good with rifle hunting, that's really what they're going to focus on is rifle
That's what
hunting
they
and vice
focus on.
versa.
Yeah. Yeah. Our mentors, when they sign up to be a mentor, the first thing we do is a background check on them, a
Good.
criminal background check. And that's just basically looking if they've got any issues that would concern us about having somebody with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've rejected some just from lots of bad driving stuff, like many cases of no insurance. I'm thinking, okay, you got a habit of having no insurance. I don't want somebody in your vehicle when you've 3 times you've been stopped over like a period of 6 years. Like, I don't think you believe in insurance.
Yeah.
And so, and then others have fish and game violations, and some of those can be explained, like, oh yeah, I had one fish over the limit. We didn't realize, or it's too long. People make mistakes.
Right.
It's the people that are intentionally doing stuff that we don't want to be mentors. So I turned down a lot of people. I review the records. Somebody else does the background check, and then they send it to me if they have an issue, and then I'll follow up and find out, how bad it is. I mean, some people had a DUI when they were 21, and then now they're 45. And
Right.
like, you're probably you haven't done anything since then. You're probably good to go.
Yeah.
But if it's like last month or last year you had one, and another one 2 years earlier than that, like, I don't think you quite learned your lesson yet.
But that's got to be comforting for the people that are signing up as mentees, that, hey, every person that's going to be a mentor has a background check. I'm not going to be going out with some sex offender or something like that, into the backcountry, or somebody that has a history of any kind of like game violations or whatever. It's nice to know that who you're going out with has been vetted, that they're good people, that they're going to do the best they can. And you kind of alluded to it, another question I had, but what's the volume of mentors that you have? You kind of said, like, down in Hawaii, you have 4 mentors, and
I think we got about 8 in Hawaii now. I have to look it up. I tell people it's like build it and they will come. We had 1 in Hawaii for probably a year and a half.
Wow.
And we could say, hey, we got 1 in Hawaii, but then we had an event, and a women's event. Last year, we got a federal grant to do 20 mentored women events in 15 different states and with 5 native tribes.
Wow.
And one of them was in Hawaii. And so we signed up 6 or 7 or 8 more mentors in Hawaii. So they hunt a lot of stuff over there.
Oh,
if I
yeah.
ever go to Hawaii, it's not going to be for the beach. It's going to be for shooting some goats or some axis deer or something. But
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. What about in Utah? Like, how many mentors do you have here in Utah, roughly?
I think we've got and I'm glad we're doing this podcast. So if you have people in
I have a
Utah,
lot of
listen up,
people in Utah listening right now.
I think we've got over 90 mentors in Utah.
Wow.
But the problem is in Utah is that we don't have anybody that stepped up as a volunteer chapter president and or state director.
Gotcha.
I had 2 different state directors in Utah that tried it and didn't work out. They were just, what we're finding out, since we're a non-paid organization, people are volunteering their time, and some people are like, oh, I want to do it. But then they realize after they start that it takes a little bit of work. It's not a full-time job. I mean, it's a few hours a week,
right?
At most, but some people are like, I'm working 50 hours a week and I got kids in T-ball and I thought I could do this because it's exciting, but I'm realizing that I can't give you what you need. So, and I said, fine, be a mentor, just continue being a mentor. So we're looking for leaders in Utah.
Oh,
I will be in Salt Lake next week we have a booth at the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo, and we'll have our laser range there where we'll have, last year we had 2,000 kids that go through that during that show.
Wow. That's awesome.
Shoot squirrels with laser guns.
Heck yeah. That's awesome.
It's fun. They love it.
I remember you guys' booth last year. I won't be able to be there this year. I mean, I don't know if I want to say sadly or not. I'm headed to Mexico actually tomorrow. And I'm going to be there for over a week. So I'm not super sad that I'm going to miss it, but I'm kind of sad that I just miss kind of like what I said about the podcast. I love the people. I love talking to really cool people. And so when I go to the expo, that's all I do is like, and if I was going to be there for the expo, I'd come up and, shake your hand and visit with you for a little bit. But I was going to tell you, so my listener population, actually, you and I live in the most populated states for my listeners. Utah and Idaho are where most of my listeners come from. In fact, I would say 60% of my listeners come from these 2 states. And then, the rest is kind of dispersed. So I have a lot of listeners in Utah. I'm sure a lot of my listeners would be interested in both being mentors. And we have a lot of people that have never hunted before. In fact, I'm looking to do a Q&A. Man, maybe I'm going to have to kind of ping you on some of these questions too. I'm thinking about doing a Q&A podcast. Because a lot of the questions that I get are from people that have never hunted in their life. And, I'm talking to, people that are, mentors in hunting or well-known people in hunting. And so they're always asking me questions about it. So a lot of our listeners are actually people that have never hunted before. So that's why I was really excited about this podcast, because I think it's going to, be able to reach a lot of people.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, and I wanted to chat with you a little bit. So, we've partnered with 360 Sportsman as well. I know you have it, and man, I think that's such a cool program and what they're doing and teaching people how to do stuff the right way. But they're so limited because it's all virtual. It's not really hands-on. And so when I was talking to Taylor, he's like, hey, you got to talk to Rick because, yes, what we're doing is great. It's going to teach people a lot of things. But we're able to partner with the First Hunt Foundation and Rick and be able to like get hands-on training with them. And so I'm just curious, I didn't really get to dig into it too much with Taylor, but what is your guys' relationship and what are you guys offering as kind of part of that 360 Sportsman initiative?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, Taylor is our national marketing director.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
So he works for free for us.
Nice.
And then he has his paying job. And so all of our mentors will get a discount for his products on 360 Sportsman.
Sweet.
A substantial discount. And so we don't charge for our services. So we don't, because it's, again, it's in the field. Usually it's real time. It's that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just made sense to have something that it's for us. A lot of it's for our mentors. Like, here's some stuff that can help you out. And, they can teach it to the mentees. And the mentees can sign up as well. But our relationship with him is sort of symbiotic. He's in a teaching world.
Yeah.
We're in a teaching world. We're hands-on out in the dirt, and his is virtual.
Yeah. Have you seen anybody that's done both 360 Sportsman and First Hunt Foundation? I know they're very new, and obviously you guys have been around for quite a while, but have you guys seen any people any mentees that have come and done both programs?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm sure that's coming. It's still new enough. It's only a month old or a month and a half old or so.
Yeah. I think it was the 1st of December, I think is when he launched. So yeah, just a couple months old. So
yeah. I think in time we will.
I think so too. I think, it's growing very quickly. I think you're going to have to grow your mentors pretty quickly to keep up with the people that he's probably going to be sending your way.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. He's going to be sending them like, hey, you can learn this stuff here virtually, but you need to hook up with these guys and get out in the field and really learn how to see it, touch it, feel it, that sort of thing.
And that's what I told him. I can learn virtually. I'm a nurse, and so a lot of the CEUs that I have to do are on a screen and whatnot, and I can learn but that way. But for me, most of it, I've got to be hands-on. I got to be out in the field, especially when it comes to like if you're shooting guns or especially shooting bows. Like it's hard to teach that online and on a screen. And I'm going to give them credit. I mean, they do a really good job. I don't know if you've seen their archery one-on-one masterclass, but do a really good job of kind of just teaching the basics. But actually getting their hands on a bow, I think is going to be a game changer. And I think that's something that your mentors can provide to them.
Yep. Yeah. We kind of see us as the next step after they've started their journey, maybe with him or 360 Sportsman. And then they're going, now I think it kind of tells them if they're interested.
Yeah.
They're interested. They're telling that, well, it looks complicated. They may back off. They may go, oh, I'm more excited now. I really want to do it. Come on over. We'll help you.
That's awesome.
Transition that.
That is so cool. I think, like you said, it's a very symbiotic relationship, and I think it's going to be a really beautiful relationship going forward. I'm really excited to see you two partner together and see where it goes. I mean, Taylor, well, you know him. He's a driven dude and a really cool dude, and I think he's going to take that to some pretty cool levels. So I think anybody that's working with him is going to benefit from it. Hey, I wanted to ask you with the First Hunt Foundation, what do you guys have coming up? I've been kind of hearing some things that you guys got like a banquet coming up or a dinner event or something coming up pretty soon or something like that.
Well, yeah, here at headquarters, we are putting on the first annual Hunters Date Night.
Oh, cool.
And it's different than a banquet. I've been to a ton of banquets, a lot of us have, and I enjoy banquets, but this is not going to have the chaos of a banquet where you got this going on over here, this raffle over here, this game over here. This is going to be come in. We'll give them 10 minutes about why you're here, what the First Hunt Foundation is about. We will, our fundraising part of this will be a live auction of only about 10 items, guns, an African safari, a few things. We'll have 30 plus silent auction, but it will have a phenomenal meal. We'll have a break with a musician, a country and western singer.
Oh, yeah.
So it's dinner and a meal. So you get a dinner and a show for a really reasonable price. And I got lots of people in the community. The local grocery store donated all their ribs and brisket for 100 people.
Wow.
Yeah, so that helps when you sell a ticket. You're not having to use that ticket sale.
Yeah.
So we're only charging $50 a couple. Think about that. Most people are like $60 a person.
Yeah, at least.
Because we got so many sponsors sponsoring the food and stuff that we don't have to make money on that. So anyway,
that's really cool.
It's not a big money maker. It's more of a community celebration of hunters coming together and spending time together, enjoying their company, hopefully making, $2,000 to $5,000 for the foundation, which would be great.
Yeah.
So,
do you expect a lot of mentors from out of state coming to join in on that?
No, we're trying to keep it local.
Are you? Okay.
They can, but it's now what we do we're just now moving into the banquet world.
Yeah.
Well, we did 2 banquets in Montana already, and they've done really well. Like last year, they netted like $46,000. That's Jeez. That's the big banquet with, 150 people and kids and families, which we promote family stuff. But we thought, well, maybe hunters might need a time away from their kids and just some time to themselves to enjoy a good meal and entertainment, you know.
That's a cool
Uh,
idea. I think that's a really cool idea
so,
to do that.
so we're actually got a contract out looking for somebody to help us put on like 6 banquets this coming year. So
Oh,
if anybody's interested, they could contact us on that. And they would get like 10% of the funds as a cost to doing the banquets, but they'd be training our local people. So the next year they wouldn't even be on the scene.
yeah, yeah. We need to get one of those down here in Utah so I can go to it.
Yeah, we actually thought about Utah.
That's the thing about Utah. Well, I guess Idaho's the same way. There's so many hunters, and like if you have a banquet here, and like you said, I love banquets. I've been to so many different banquets that are out there, and I have a lot of fun with them. And so but I think kind of to your point, and really your foundation's point, is banquets are also a really good time to kind of bring people together and just build the community that is the hunting community. Because some of these states, it is kind of going away. I used to live in Colorado, and man, it's kind of sad to see what Colorado's doing right now from a hunting perspective. Like I feel like it's going away.
Yeah, I live in Colorado too.
Oh, where'd you live?
I was in Pueblo.
Oh, okay. I was just north of you. I was up in just north of Colorado Springs in Monument.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love that. Love that area. But I had to move. I had to get out of Colorado just because of the politics are one thing in Colorado. And it was just, I don't know. It was going a different direction that I believed it should. And man, since I've left there, just watching the impact that they've had on the hunting community and whatnot, it's really sad. And it's not just Colorado. I mean, there's quite a few states going down that road. So
yeah, there are. It's a sad time right now, but I'm kind of hoping there'll be a little bit of a shift with the current state of affairs.
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, better administration in there that should promote it a little bit more than the past 4 years have.
Yeah.
Well, Rick, I won't take up too much of your time, but I did want to give a chance for my listener to know exactly like what they need to do. Because like I said, I know there's going to be people listening to this podcast that are new to hunting, that are maybe a little bit nervous to take that step into hunting. And I honestly feel like, I wish you and I would have done this podcast a long time ago. And I wish I would have been promoting your stuff a long time ago, because I feel like there's a lot of people that want to take that step. So for those listeners that are listening, whether they've never hunted before or whether they want to just kind of re-engage and get back into it, where do they go? What do they do to get connected with your foundation?
You betcha. Well, the simplest, easiest way is just go to our website,
Okay.
firsthuntfoundation.org, and you can learn all about the foundation. We've got our main program, which is youth, I'd say, but we also have 3 other programs that are kind of offshoots. We have a program called Share the Heritage, or Heritage is Heritage with HER capitalized, which is all about getting more women and girls into hunting. So if you're a woman or have daughters or something, that program is set up to try to get women mentors. Sometimes work better with girls and women than us old guys do. And we have another program called Connecting Heroes and Hunters, which is about getting veterans out into hunting, getting them to be mentors or teaching them to hunt, giving them those cool experiences. We took a 100-year-old veteran out hunting last year, by the way.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, he wasn't able to harvest an elk because he couldn't get out as much, but that was kind of cool.
That's cool.
And then our last program is called Forgotten Rights, RITES, which is about underserved communities, people of color. And we actually have Ray Livingston as our national director there. He was on the Alone TV show, and he was on the Mountain Man show for a while. So a lot of people follow him. And so we're trying to get everybody we can in all parts of society into hunting, youth, either be a mentor or be a mentee. Again, doesn't matter what age on that, and just do what we can. So 10 years from now, hunting's still part of the American scene, part of the American culture. That's what we're all about.
I love it, Rick. I really do. That is awesome. And I'll put links to your website down in the description and show notes so that people can just, if they're interested, it'll be easy. They can just go to this and click on it and get right to that. I also want to ask you, obviously being a nonprofit, is there a donate page that, I got a lot of listeners that are, have been longtime hunters and just want to be able to help out the community. Is there a way to donate directly to you all?
Yeah, you can go to the website and there's a donate button, and we appreciate all those. It's just kind of funny because I get them all the time out of the blue. I don't even know where the people heard about us. I got one from Texas the other day for $500. I go, who are these people? Like, thank you, because it all goes to pay. Again, none goes to salary. It all goes into the program.
That's
so
cool.
We appreciate anything we can get.
Well, I encourage people to do that. Anybody out there that is listening, hey, it's tax season too. A lot of people are like, oh, I need something. I need a tax write-off of something. It's a great charity. It's a great thing to donate to, and it is a tax write-off. So it goes to help and build what we love. And Rick said earlier in the podcast, but hunting is kind of going away. And if it continues on the trend that it's on right now, who knows what it'll look like in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I worry about my kids and my grandkids and what it's going to look like for them. So hopefully by doing stuff like this, we can keep this going.
Yeah. Just late news, by the way, as of today, they just announced the deal. We just signed up as a partner with the National Shooting Sports Foundation on their +1 program. They have a program that says basically, if you're a hunter, hey, if you're going out, take somebody with you. And, we're doing targeted mentoring, but it's sort of the same thing. Hey, take somebody with you. So we're hooked in with them. We've got an MOU, memorandum of understanding, with the National Rifle Association, because they support what we're doing. We're just hooking up with anybody and everybody that will help us save our hunting heritage.
Oh, I love it, Rick. That's what it's about, and we have to come together to be able to do that. So I love that you're partnering with those kind of people to be able to do that. That's a big voice, honestly. You drop some pretty big names and big companies, big foundations, and if we can partner with them and keep this going, I think that's our only hope, honestly, to keep the hunting the way that we want it.
I do too. It's getting to be a rich person's sport too, which is kind of concerning. That it's just hard. It's getting harder. We can try our best, and sometimes the access is, we've lost access. People realizing they can make money on their private land more than they can letting their neighbor come. So anyway, but we're working on it. That's all we can do. That's honestly all we can do. And I'll bet it's fun. I'll bet it's fun doing what you do every day. I'm sure being a biologist for the Forest Service was a lot of fun too, but I'm sure that what you're doing now is probably a little bit more, I shouldn't say more fulfilling, because that was probably fulfilling too. But, I'll bet you're having a lot of fun doing what you're doing. Oh, it has its moments. There's the admin side. I used to do 80 days. I'm probably doing more like 40 now, because the admin side, as we grew, I'm constantly on the phone dealing with stuff, which is okay. Yeah. But it takes me away from some of the field stuff that I really, I'd probably be predator hunting a lot of in the winter, but now I'm going to meetings and other things. So
that's why everybody's afraid to do your chapter presidents and stuff like that. They don't want to do the administrative side of it. They want to be mentors so they can be out in the mountains with the kids and the new people.
That's right.
Shoot. Well, Rick, I appreciate you coming on. I know we've been trying to get this on the schedule for a long time, but and I really, like I said, I wish we would have done this a long time ago, because I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing, and if I can support it any way I possibly can, I'm here for you, and would love to help in any other ways that I can. But I really appreciate you taking the time with me today. You betcha. If I get the link later on, I'm going to put it out for other people to view, so you might get some more interest as well. I would love it. This show will go live tomorrow morning, so we'll get it out tomorrow morning. And well, actually, you know what? It actually might go, if I can get working on it, I actually may have it out today. So if I can get out today, I'll shoot you a text and let you know as soon as it's published. All right. Thank you, buddy. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate you. Bye. See ya.